Hey guys, we are back with another episode of the Viral Nation, episode number 11. Today's show, we are going to talk Supercross Arlington 1, Supercross Arlington 2. We're going to talk to the crazy guys over at Mason Racing. We're going to talk old school Washington motocross and much, much more. Stay tuned to the Viral Nation.
Wake up at 5 a.m. Gotta be at the track at 10. It's time to ride. All of this anticipation to ride in the Viral Nation.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 11 of the Viral Nation. Like we always do, we start out, hey, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love the feedback we get. It is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. Today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about everything. We're going to talk a little bit about Arlington 1. We're going to talk about Arlington 2, which I just got done watching. We're going to talk old school motocross. But before we get there, let's start with our monologue. And first, I want to talk about something that I'm not super stoked with, which is a good acquaintance of mine. I won't say that Todd, Dehoop, and I are good friends, but we raced back in the day. We used to play football every once in a while out in the parking lot and that kind of stuff back at the Supercrosses. And Todd got really hurt at Daytona this year. I'm going to put a link down here at the bottom. If you could go over to the recovery and help him out. Anything can help. It's a tough deal, and everyone here at Viral Brand wants to throw out some good vibes to Todd and his family in a very tough time. Unfortunately, in the sport, getting hurt sometimes sucks, and that does happen. So let's hope that everything does work out well for Todd. He was a hell of a champion. He was 1988 125. East Coast champion and a million years racing motorcycles, and so we really hope for the best. On the other side at Daytona, we had a bunch of our riders out there the last weekend. Had a great time at Daytona, but I don't know if you saw the video or not, but Doug Henry obviously got hurt many years ago. Still, even though he got paralyzed, is still racing motorcycles. And that guy was hauling the mail and not putting his feet down, obviously. He's got a cage around him. He was railing the corners, laying into the berms, and it was just absolutely inspiring to watch Doug race. Hats off to Doug Henry, amazing champion, an amazing rider, amazing racer, and really hasn't let anything slow him down. It's just awesome to see Doug out there doing that. We also want to talk really quickly about as far as this intro is. I watched some Supercross this weekend, and they were talking about, I think it was Moran's, who was racing the East Coast 250 class, and now is racing the 450 class on the West Coast, making mains. Ran up front at A1. I'm sorry, at Arlington 1, and man. It kind of made me start thinking, they're making kind of a big deal about this kid racing both coasts, right? 250 on one and then a 450, and how the transition is and all that stuff. And it brings me back when I raced Supercross, and this guy, Chris Young, and number 102, he was on a Suzuki. His boy, actually, Cody Young, raced Supercross for a little while. But Chris was an animal. Well, super nice guy, first off, right? But second of all, just an animal, because he would qualify in the 125 class make the main event, and then he would also qualify in the 250 class, and he would ride two main events in one night. It was awesome to do it. Now, I couldn't do that, right? But he would do it through, I think, most of 89 and most of 90. He was racing both. And whichever one he got the best start in, he would work the hardest in. So, like, if he got a great start in the 125 class, then he would race to the front, and he would just ride his butt off. And then in the 250 class, he'd typically get a worse start and just kind of ride around. But if he didn't do good in the 125 class, he'd shut her down early. And then in the 250 class, he would just try as hard as he could to try to get a good finish in the 250 class. And go back to the Racer X has this amazing thing called the vault. And you can go look at the vault and find other results of all these people. If you ever have a guy that tells you, hey, I used to race back in the day and I was super fast, right? Go to the vault, right? If he raced and it was super fast, he's going to be in the vault, right? At least in motocross or Supercross, he will be in the vault. And so I went back there and looked at Chris's results, and it's pretty awesome. You see him getting finishes on the same night in 2 classes, and there was not a lot of guys doing that. That was not a big thing, but Chris was one of the guys that did it. And then I believe that the AMA ended up not allowing that to happen anymore after a couple of years. But still pretty awesome. And when you're watching that and you're listening to them talk about this, remember that some guy back when the bikes were still had square wheels and ran on steam was putting it into the main events in both classes each and every weekend. All right, coming up next, we're going to hit our Instagram photo of the week. And our Instagram photo of the week is from Amanda_MX. You can check her out on her Instagram account, but you can also check her out on TikTok. She has got a massive following on TikTok. So check out Amanda MX, and she's right here with our viral brand Comp Series goggles, pink. And check out Amanda as one of our riders. And the Instagram photo of the week. I want to give a shout out to I talked about Bob and Linda from the Leeches from their memorial. They had a memorial race over the weekend, and it was awesome, huge turnout. They did a huge parade lap for them, and I wish I could have been able to make it down there myself. It's a 6.5 hour drive for me, and I just couldn't swing it last weekend, but really awesome to see the turnout and the love that was shown towards Bob and Linda and for everything that they've done to this motocross community up here in the Northwest. We're going to do a motocross history here in just a minute. But first, before we get there, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with Washington State motocross history right after this quick message. Our 2021 Comp Series goggle collection was inspired and designed by Rockstar Energy and a 2019 Nitro World Games Super Hooligan Flat Track Champion, Andy DeBrino. Andy brings his unique design and inspiration with his new Signature Series goggle to the viral brand for 2021 and beyond. Our 2021 Comp Series goggles has some outstanding features: outriggers, soft flex frame, 50mm sublimated strap, 1 run of non-slip, and the best fit in the industry for any goggle under $40. If you're looking for viral brand goggles, check out shop.theviralbrand.com or find a dealer near you. Isn't it time you go viral? Hey guys, we're back and we are going to talk Washington State motocross history. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the first 2 years, actually 3 years of Supercross. And we're not going to go to motocross, we're going to talk Supercross. And I might have actually misspoke myself and said motocross history, but I meant Supercross history. When you look back, I'm going to pull some notes here really quick. When you look back at the founding fathers of motocross, Washington State needs to be at the top of your mind. And you know why is that? Because Washington State was one of the leading states with our riders from Washington, the Pacific Northwest, traveling around the country and racing Supercross when it first started. In 1974, they had 3 rounds. They had the Daytona round, they had a Houston round, and they had an LA Coliseum round. And Washington State, at round 1, the first Supercross that was ever in the United States, right here, second place, Buck Murphy. Buck Murphy was, and I got a chance to know him as a little kid. He wouldn't know me from Adam, but I got to see Buck Murphy race at a local track when I was a kid. No idea who the guy was. Just extremely fast guy. and crazy, right? The racers back then were crazy. And then you had Ron Pomeroy. Now, Ron Pomeroy really it's pretty crazy because his brother kind of outshined him. But Ron was a staple in the early days of Supercross. So at round one, which was the Daytona Supercross, March 10th, 1974, you had Pears Carmichael, which everyone talks about him coming out and coming to America. He was from the Netherlands and winning the first Supercross. But no one ever talks about second place, who was Buck Murphy, right here from Washington State. Second place. Ron Pomeroy got seventh place at that race, right? So you had two Washington riders in the top 10 of the first Supercross that ever happened in the United States. Washington State is on the map when it comes to Supercross. You go into round two, which is going to be the Houston round, right? Houston round. Not only are Washington riders in the top 10 again, but this time Jim Pomeroy shows up and he wins round two of the inaugural season of Supercross. So Pierre Carmichael gets second. Jim Pomeroy wins it. Ron Pomeroy ends up getting an eighth with Buck Murphy in seventh. So right now, just inside the top 10 are three Washington riders at round two of the inaugural race of the inaugural season of Supercross. And then you go to the LA Coliseum, and not sure exactly what happened, but Ron Pomeroy was the only one in the main event there. But Ron finished the entire season. He finished 14th at LA Coliseum, but he did finish. I mean, he would have finished probably. I didn't do the points on it, but probably third or fourth or fifth in the series, right? Buck Murphy would have been right in there, that top 10 as well. Jim Pomeroy did not show back up for the LA Coliseum round, but that is just some great stuff for the Washington history when it comes to Supercross. We've got a lot of great riders in Supercross that have been from here. Obviously, you can name Larry Ward, and you've got Lance Smale, and you've got Ryan Huffman, and you got Jason McCormick, and all these guys that raced, and of course, Villapoto being a world champion and stuff. But in the beginning of time, in the beginning of Supercross, it's cool to see that Washington had such a big stake in the basically the start of a sport that we loved. I mean, we're very passionate about it. Matter of fact, when I raced, I was I wanted to do the McGrath thing before it was a thing, right? Before everyone kind of did Supercross only. When I was growing up, I didn't like outdoors. I mean, I didn't dislike them, but outdoors was outdoors. But I wanted to be a Supercross guy. That's what I wanted to do. It's 1974. We had the three riders. You had Washington riders, the brothers, Ron and Jim Pomeroy, and Buck Murphy. In 75, Ron Pomeroy came back and raced the entire series. Or their first year there was 4 or 3. Next year there was 6 rounds, I believe. And then in 1976, we had a bunch of riders again. We had Buck Murphy, we had Doug Raines, and then we had Chuck Sun. And now Chuck was from Oregon, but he's kind of a Northwest rider as well. Obviously the 1980 500 national champion. So obviously Chuck very experienced, but this was quite a few years before he won his first championship. But again, Washington State laying the foundation for Supercross as we know it today. And it's just awesome to know that Washington State's got that kind of history. Now, it doesn't mean that other states don't, but California, obviously, tons and tons of riders. Florida, you had back at this time in the 70s, the Europeans were the powerhouse when it came to riding. Karsmaker, DeCoster, Everett's, all those guys. And so, but still, with Washington State being such a part of Supercross, that's our little history lesson for today. For all you guys out there that don't know kind of what's going on with the history of motocross with Washington State, now you do. Denny Stevenson and I were talking last week, and that people don't really look at the history of Supercross or kind of the way it is, and I totally understand, and I totally agree with him, because Supercross is the next guy up sport, right? You have one guy, right, who was the best of the best, and as soon as he disappears, you forget about him. As soon as he stops racing, he's gone. And we do a okay job of kind of honoring those guys, right? That were there. But we really don't. I mean, we don't, as a sport, we don't do the the yellow jackets and the gold jackets like they do in golf, and we don't have even though we do have the Motorcycle Hall of Fame, we don't really honor them in the same way that I'd like to see. I think that the history part of it's pretty cool. But then again, I like history in general. All right, coming up next, we are going to talk Arlington Supercross Round 1. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it. It was Arlington. Even it feels like a million years ago already, even though it was just Saturday, and we're actually filming this on Tuesday night. It is crazy the action that we've been seeing in Supercross. The guys have been on fire all season long. Cooper Webb, he's definitely hitting his stride, and everybody is in trouble. Just gonna say that out loud. Everybody's in trouble, and we're not gonna go into Arlington 2 yet. So let's talk Arlington 1. We're gonna go 250 class first. We're just gonna hit some quick highlights. Seth Haymaker, awesome, right? First time winner, first year with Pro Circuit, or first year on the Supercross team, and super cool to see. Hunter Lawrence, that kid looks great, right? He's not quite as flashy as Jet, but he is fast and he's there and he's consistent. And that's something that you need to, I think, is going to be a really big thing at the end of this series, because they're short series. But Hunter is right in the mix every day, every round. You know, he finished second overall. You had Cameron McAdoo, who's really been, I mean, that kid is fighting hard for this championship. Justin Cooper, you know, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's slipping away from him. I know that shouldn't say that. Maybe I'm a little jaded, but I just feel like this was really Justin's Supercross championship to lose. And I kind of feel like he is. He's kind of just letting bad starts, you know, tip overs, just little things. And it really kind of sucks because, you know, I really thought he was going to be the guy that was going to kind of dominate it. It's cool that he's not, right? Because the racing is so much better. But, I mean, it's I just really expected to see him kind of be the dominant guy this year. And I'm kind of surprised that he's having so much trouble. Marchbanks put in a good ride. Swall, Styles Roberts, Mitchell Harrison rode a good race. Chris Bloss, Nate Thrasher, I had him on my team a few weeks ago. I think he didn't even make the main event. And now he comes back. He's putting inside the top 10. So good to see. McAdoo in the lead with in the championship right now. Cooper in second. Lawrence third. Marchbanks and then Hammaker. That rounds out your top 5 in points after round Arlington 1. Let's look at 450 class. As I said, Cooper Webb is getting on a roll, man. And after his win last weekend, at Arlington 1, his confidence is coming and growing. That's a bad thing. Well, not a bad thing for Coop, but a bad thing for all the rest of the competition. Great ride from Just Barsha. And then let's talk Jason Anderson. You know, I just makes me laugh. And I talk about this quite a bit, but it just makes me laugh when I don't want to see Supercross turn into a stuff fest, right? That's not what I want. I don't want to see that. Because I mean, you don't want to just see riders laying all over the track that have been knocked down. But aggressive passing is what this sport was built on. It was built on elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, you know, stuffing each other in and out of corners. And Anderson just was old school in it all the way to third place. You know, it was awesome. And yeah, you had some riders, you know, you got Malcolm that lost his mind and then tried to just basically kill Anderson. And then you had Anderson and the whole Fernandez deal, or not Fernandez, Fernandez. Sorry, I can't say his name, but Fernandez. And I listened to an interview, and Anderson said, I just think I surprised him. I don't think that he actually believed I was going to come in there that fast, and I just startled him, and that's what made him crash. And when you watch it, sure enough, Anderson pops in there, comes around, and you kind of just see Fernandez kind of lay on him, right? And then boom, down he goes. And it's a bummer that he got hurt. I know that Anderson probably didn't want to hurt him, but he definitely was getting through traffic. So it was a good ride for Anderson last weekend. Great to see Chase Sexton back in the mix after Daytona and knocking his teeth out and all that stuff. And then the injury from the first round. Roczen, woo, not a good ride. Not for a championship ride, let's put it that way. Aaron Plessinger, great ride. I know he wanted to be back on the box, but the kid is solid, right? He's right in there. He's in that top 6, 7, 8, or sorry, 6th through 4th almost every weekend now. He won his heat rate last weekend, and it was just cool to watch. I am a huge Aaron Plessinger fan. He's just a funny dude. Tomac and Savachi with a good ride. Savachi had a really good ride. And Savachi went to the Suzuki team, the Joe Gibbs team a few years ago. Nothing happened for that. That was just a bad deal for him. Got hurt, sat out pretty much the entire year, and it's good to see him starting getting some good finishes. Tomac with an 8th. Yeah, no, sorry, man. You don't get 8th place when you have the number 1 plate on your bike, right? You just don't. When you have that number 1 plate on your bike, you need to be pounding it out for the top 3 or 4 spots every time. You don't have to win, but you got to be in the mix each and every weekend, and you need to defend that. Even if you lose it, you got to defend it. And I don't think he's doing a great job of defending his title, to be honest with you. At least not at Arlington 1 he wasn't. He kind of just rode around. Wilson with a really good ride. Martin Davalos, quiet. Guy's invisible, but he got a 10th place. And then, of course, the rest of your guys. Coop now takes the point lead. So going into Arlington 2, Coop's going to have the red plate. Roczen now in 2, Eli in 3, Barsha 4, Plessinger 5, Malcolm Stewart 6, Anderson 7, Musquin 8. Tough break for Musquin after last weekend, though. He did he got himself knocked out, and not to let the cat out of the bag, but yeah, he's not going to be riding at Arlington 2. He's got to go through concussion protocols. That was Arlington 1. Arlington 1. And what we're going to do is we are going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to the guys over at Mason Racing. They are like Supercross guys going straight up a mountain. And you don't want to miss this interview. These guys are awesome. Be right back. Our 2021 Factory Series Goggle Collection was inspired and designed by Rockstar Energy and 2019 Nitro World Super Hooligan Champion, Andy DeBrino. And he brings his unique design and inspiration along with his all-new Signature Series Goggle to Viral Brand for 2021 and beyond. Our engineers used our soft flex frame, 4 layers of face foam, outriggers, and a 50mm strap to give you the most comfortable goggle in the industry. For more information, check out shop.theviralbrand.com or find a dealer near you. All right, guys. Hey, we are here with Mason Racing. We've got Nick Miller is going to be with us. We got Cody, and we have Jack. And hey, guys, how you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing really good, really good. So, you guys have been with Viral for a little while now, but let's talk a little bit about hill climbing. I mean, hill climbing has really taken off over the last couple of years. I know that you guys just were in a video that did like 1 million views or something like that.
Yep. 2.8.
Wow, 2.8. And they've kind of turned hill climbing kind of like almost into an uphill motocross race, huh?
Yeah. It's developed pretty big now. It's getting real huge on the East Coast. It's unreal. I'm really excited how everything's gone the way it's going.
So tell us a little history about you guys. So where did you guys start? You guys motocross guys starting up, or did you guys always kind of do the hill climbing?
Actually, I started back when about like 1987, just doing the amateur hill climb stuff over here at Cayuga, White City, just, local stuff around home, and just kind of developed from there. And then I won the Nationals in 1993 and was obviously an Indiana, Ohio, Illinois state champion for several years in a row. And then I won the Nationals in 1993, and we went to our awards banquet and a guy there from Honda started talking, and we kind of snowballed from there. We just went from hill climbing to motocross, and then broke both my legs, and kind of went downhill from there. And then we got back into hill climbing.
All right, and Cody, how did you get rolling? Kind of same thing, just the family was all doing it.
It's kind of like, the uncle that teaches you how to swim, just throws you in. Yeah, they got into it, and I had a lack of interest to it. I was more worried about throwing rocks and chasing around, eating cheese dogs and all that good stuff. And it wasn't until about the early 2000s, man, until it finally started clicking for me. We started racing pit bikes. We did the amateur hill climb for years. I ended up second in the nation. It's been so long ago, I can't remember when. I think it was like 96, somewhere around there. Then we started racing pit bikes. Jack got into pro hill climbing. He was racing for Jeff Thomas, and something about the pit bikes, man, something inside of me clicked. We were at a race at Jeff Thomas's, and I'll never forget my brother saying, we were all hanging out with his buddies and everything. We pulled off a rubber band start, dude, and I pulled the whole shot, and I was like, wow. And I remember my brother telling all his buddies, he's like, dude, I looked up front and it was my brother, and I was like, holy shit. Well, needless to say, about 3/4 in, he tried to wax me, takes us both out. I fall over on top of him. I burn him with my freaking head pipe. And I'm like, you all right? Grab my bike, take off. I win the race, and he's all burned up. And it was a good time. The pit bike stuff is what kind of made it click for me. And then we got into woods racing, and from there we ventured into pro hill climb again after taking, I think it was like probably like a 14-year hiatus from pro hill climb. Then we did like probably about a 6-year run into the wood stuff, doing GNCC, some local hare scrambles, and kind of made a name for ourselves there. We didn't go too far with it, but I think it was either Dave McCutcheon or Craig DeHart, one or the other, that gave Jack the opportunity to throw his leg over a nitro bike. I got invited out to watch him at Devil's Staircase. I thought he was absolutely insane, because we're not the youngest of the groups out there. We're over our 30s, and a lot of people are like, hey, this is crazy. And when I went and seen it, and on the way there, I was like, dude, you're crazy. You're too old for this. Well, when we got there, it was a whole nother world. I was like, Dad, we got to do this. So we got to build a bike. Let's do it. So the rest is history from there. Once Dad gets a hint of something, it's over with, because he's like a junkie when it comes to motorcycles. You can't stop him.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the first time. So if you guys did off-road stuff, so you rode a traditional motorcycle, and now all of a sudden you guys are on an actual hill climb bike. I've hill climbed, but I've never hill climbed, right? And so what's the difference? And let's not talk nitro bikes first. Let's just talk a straight dirt bike with a long swing arm. What's the big difference between that and a normal dirt bike? I mean, how is it? What's it feel like? I guess I don't know if you can even explain it.
Staying them on their head, they all look the same. They just got different haircuts, right? It's not too bad, man. It's not much of a difference. It's a little bit easier to climb the hill because you got the length. You don't have to worry about wheeling over backwards or anything like that. Obviously, there's a lot of money going into the motors to try to get as much horsepower out of them as we can. We've definitely made a big change in the 450s this year, which I'm sure we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But
I want to get
change difference wise. You're not going to whip them around like a motocross bike. You still can, but the length is a little bit hindering there, but not much difference really.
So Jack, when you come off the line, and you guys now have big doubles going up the hill, because I watch a lot of your guys's videos you guys post, and so you come off the line and there's a pretty good sized double. I mean, how far are those things?
Well, it just normally depends on the hill. Like some of them are like the one at Devil's Staircase. It's a 70-foot step up.
Wow.
And then it's kind of hard to jump those on the 450s. You can clear those all day on the nitro bikes.
Yeah.
But the 450, you got to be cranking a lot of horsepower out of them and torque to really jump them that far, because obviously the hill takes a lot of that away. But some of them, it just all depends on the hill, how they're built. I mean, they're 70 foot, they're 30 foot, 40 foot, it just all depends on how they build them.
I think the one at Polk's is like 50 or 60, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
So do the bikes jump a whole lot different with that long swing arm?
Yes and no. I mean, we've been riding them so long that we're so used to it.
Right.
Like, I can go out and ride my motocross track with my extended bike, and it don't really feel any different to me. Now, like if you or somebody else was to get on, they'd be like, "Oh my God, that thing's so long. How do you ride that?"
Yeah.
It's just kind of a natural thing once you've done it for 34 years, as I've been doing it for. So I mean, it's just kind of a natural thing.
It's a muscle memory, it's just you're getting on there and you're twisting the throttle. It's the same thing to us. You don't really tell a difference. Now on the nitro bikes, that's another world.
Now I was gonna say, no matter how much you ride dirt bikes, you start putting a nitrous motor underneath you, that's gotta light everyone's hair on fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And your eyeballs.
So
I don't want to correct you, but not nitrous, we're nitromethane.
Nitromethane. Not okay. Perfect. So tell me, I mean, what's that thing like? Is this probably like riding a Indy car or a top of fuel dragster up the hill, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of fun. Like, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, just from watching the videos, the sound is so different, right?
Oh yeah. What, like, you take a CBR 600 and they're pushing stock 160 horse or something like that, maybe, if that. You throw a little bit of nitro to it, it just doubles the horsepower, and then it's just a whole different ball game from there. And let alone it's a dynamite between your legs if it erupts. So
hey, here's the best way I could describe it. You could take 100 junkies and throw 50 of them in rehab and throw the other 50 on a nitro bike. I guarantee they won't be a junkie no more.
That's a good analogy. I like that. That.
They're a lot of fun. I have more fun riding them than I do like the 450s and stuff, because just the power and everything is just unreal.
Yeah. So what's your motor longevity? So like when I was running the Supercross team, we had 5-hour motors. Right. So our race motors were 5 hours. We had to tear them down. Now it's basically from the crank back up again. Right.
Yeah.
What kind of, what are you
normally we do almost a whole full season, unless something, catastrophically fails and we have to rebuild them. But normally it's just a winter build. We'll go through them and put some crank bearings in them, rings, seals, just your normal kind of stuff. But normally you can almost go a whole full season on a motor, no problem, just long as you we change the oil every time we fire them up. So, I mean, when
proper maintenance,
it's got fresh oil in it every single time.
Okay. All right. So you guys made a big change this year. You guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So what was your big change this year?
Well, we got picked up by Spike's KTM out of Lafayette, Indiana. We're going to be venturing off to the Gas MC450 this year. Really super stoked about that. We've always been riding Hondas all of our life, except for, Moto and stuff like that. We rode Yamaha, Suzuki's and stuff. But Spikes has really stepped up their game this year and helped us out tremendously, which I couldn't thank them enough. And DQ, he does all of our tuning and stuff on all that, does our suspension and all that. And I'm super, super thrilled about this whole deal.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, I saw you guys' posts on the new gas. I mean, it's a pretty cool that we have a new brand or an old brand come back as a new brand. Right. Yeah. And
I actually, when I was racing the woods, I actually rode for a shop local here that used to sell gas. And I rode as a 2010 gas 250, but it had the old WR Yamaha motor on it. And I liked the suspension on it, but it was not like what they
Didn't
are
have the
now.
Honda power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine that went to Spain and raced for Gas in Spain years ago, and
Cool.
couldn't even finish a race, right? Thing would come apart on him every time he rode.
Yeah.
You know, and the bikes today, I mean, you obviously watching Barsha, you watching the Chiefy Lights team. I mean, it's just pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. I'm really stoked how it's coming along, and we got a lot of cool things. We haven't really revealed anything like the bikes wise, other than those pictures, because we got a lot of stuff we're doing to them and just changing them up a little bit. The bikes are a lot of red, and I'm so OCD about stuff. I kind of gotta throw our collars in there, and we did a lot of change to them.
Right on. Well, cool. Well, I know that we're gonna hopefully the Viral Nation crew will go over and check out your guys' stuff and kind of follow you guys along, because I mean, hill climbing is a pretty awesome sport to watch.
Oh yeah.
It's funny, I grew up as a motocross guy, right? So motocross in the stadium is pretty cool, but you can see everything in a hill climb, right?
Yeah.
And it's and you can watch everything pretty close. And you know, I know that it's not your guys' sport, but I was watching this one on YouTube a while back. Some European hill climb, like nobody made it to the top. It was like
is it like the Impossible or something like that?
Impossible.
It was, and these guys were just, they take different lines, and they all ended up, very narrow. And every time they ended up on their head, everybody.
Yeah. And then they got the car tire on the back of it. It's about 2 foot wide with big spikes on it.
we actually got a couple guys that we race with that's raced Monty Impossible, and they've done pretty well there. Logan Sapala, Austin Tyler, you know, which we only raced with those. Well, Logan races the East Coast now, but Austin, we only raced against him at Pokes Hole. Super competitive guys, definitely top notch for sure.
That is awesome. And did your dad race then back in the day?
Yeah, Dad raced back in the day. I mean, he didn't really like get into it like we did, but yeah, he raced quite a bit with. When I was younger in the 80 days, he raced quite a bit in the hill climb. He rode a KX 500, and he got 8th in the nation there.
Oh, right on. Yeah, so I think it's always cool talking to race families because it's kind of generational. My dad was a NASCAR guy, or not a NASCAR, a local NASCAR guy, right? Foreign stuff. And then he did off-road racing, did the Mickey Thompson stuff. And
awesome.
And when we got into motorcycle racing, the only reason we got into motorcycle racing is because I had one in the garage, and he didn't want to spend money to go build a car, and he said it was too expensive, right? So we ended up doing a dirt bike, and I'm 50-some years old now. I'm still riding freaking dirt bikes. So I love.
Once you throw your leg over, you're hit.
Exactly.
Like
it's worse.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna say is like Nick there. You know, we can say this now because it's been long enough. you know, about as long as Nick's mullet. That's how long it's been.
That's right, baby.
When we started to build my nitro bike, we were all working. Dad has his own construction company. We're working on a buddy's flip house, and Nick was coming around, and we had the nitro bike in the back of the truck, making rounds back and forth to Dan Watson Motorsports. And Nick's like, "Ooh, shiny, what's that?" So we introduced him to what we were doing and kind of influenced him to throw a leg over. And Nick had to go the hard route. Rob Redmond sent him to the amateurs, and he buckled down. He did what he had to do. He got his card back, and he come back to the pros. In 3 years, Nick went from never racing to being a professional hill climber. On his fourth year, he beat us in championship points. So that's something special to us, because we got third year.
Yeah.
Third year. Okay. His third year. But anyways, that's special to us because, it's not all about winning championships. It's about building relationships and seeing that, because it's not about just riding. It's about now he's created something for his family to look forward to as well.
Yeah. And Nick, you ride the gases for this year then, or you have a different program?
No, whenever Rob sent me back to the amateurs, I went and bought a brand new Honda 450 2017. And so, it's kind of pretty brand new. I've just now got pretty tuned in for me. I'm feeling real comfortable on it. So, I think if I'm going to spend any more money, it's going to be getting into more classes. We're getting my nitro bike finished up. The V-twin class is always there. It looks like a real fun class. So any extra penny is going to go to getting more bikes.
Yeah.
He was going to get a gas, and then he decided not to get one. So he's just going to stick with the Honda 450 this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you get something that works, you guys know, you guys watch Supercross much? You guys fans? Yeah.
Religiously.
Okay. So you guys know the old McGrath story, right? He rode that 93 Honda CR all the way up until he left Honda, right? Even though they were coming out with new frames, he was stuck on that 93, right?
Oh yeah.
And once you got something that works, man, don't have to change it unless they're going to pay you to do it.
Yeah, why change it when it works? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, when I actually rode, when I got picked up by Honda, I literally was parked. Well, actually, when they come to Indiana for the Supercross in Indy at the Hoosier Dome at the time, they were still in their box vans. Yeah. And it was Steve Lamson, Jeremy McGrath, Jeff Stanton. Yeah, Jeff Stanton, all them guys. So they're parked basically out our window of our bus that my sponsor had, and you could literally sit there and watch them do everything. I mean, I went into the rig and played video games with Jeremy McGrath. I mean, it was a big deal. Like, I was sponsored by this local Honda shop in Schaumburg, Illinois, that was called Downers Grove Honda. And they actually got me hooked up with HRC and Mike Robinette, the guy that used to help us and stuff. He was one of my Honda sponsors, and man, it was like a professional. I was like a professional. I mean, I raced with Carmichael, all them guys at the Dome. I ended up like fifth or sixth in front of Carmichael.
Yeah, very.
They were like 13, 14 years old, and they had Troy Lee designed bell helmets, the custom painted, sponsored by Taco Bell. They had a full ride outfit. They eventually got away from the Hondas and got into the factory Yamaha support and everything. Yeah, that guy, he really pulled his weight with everything he said he would do as far as bringing in the sponsorship and the exposure for Jack.
Yep, Downers Grove was a pretty good program there. So
yeah. You remember when Ryan Hughes had that checkered flag bell helmet that he always wore with the side checker? Well, this is the Troy design replica of it, but it was the Taco Bell. I mean, it was legit.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that's a very special shelf thing right there.
That is super cool. It's funny. I've actually been talking about. I was talking to one of the guys who helped me produce the show about doing a old vintage helmet segment, and I'm gonna pull out because I must have 20 helmets, right?
Man, that's all.
So I raced back in the day when Bell helmet, I raced for Bell forever. If you crashed, Bell would come over and they'd take your helmet, and then you had to give your helmet up, and then they go and they dissect it and see what kind of damage was done to it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the Bell rep would come over and he'd see me crash or something. He'd come over, "Do you crash?" "No, I'm good." "No, my helmet." I was trying to hide helmets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyways, well, hey, so you guys had a chance to race against a little bit against one of our Northwest guys. We got Jake Anstead, turned into a hill climber a few years ago. You guys ever get a chance to race against him? Or you guys just see him racing?
Never actually like raced against him, but we've seen him race and stuff. Never really. I got a couple chances to go out west and race, but whenever I went out there, he wasn't actually racing. This was back in like 2002, 2003 when I went out west, but I never actually got to like compete with him.
Yeah, because I think he moved into the hill climbing about 4 years ago, 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jack, I saw that you actually ended up getting second overall in a national, and you beat Justin Hill, no, Josh Hill, right?
Josh Hill, yeah.
Josh Hill came out and did a hill climb.
What's that?
So Josh came out and had done a hill climb with you guys, right?
Yeah. He come to Pogues Hole, Dansville, New York, and super cool dude. We hung out with him, and very competitive. He's awesome. I learned a lot from that guy. He's super cool to hang out with. Super fast.
Well, awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks a lot for doing this with me. Let's run through some of your sponsors before we get out of here, and also kind of tell us the way guys can find you guys on Instagram and social and all that stuff. So who's helping you guys out this year?
This year, like Jack said earlier, we got a lot of support from Spikes KTM up there. Our mechanic, he does a lot of work for us. DQ, obviously Dan Watson Motorsports. He's our nitro guy, and pretty much anything if we need any type of motor work. We're trying to bring on some more stuff. We're not going to talk about that because it's not for sure stuff, but we're looking for some bigger like national title sponsors this year. We got a new manager again that we reconnected with from the past. He's going to stay in the limelight, fly racing. I think we're going to try to do the Gurnier thing again this year. You got Viral Brand, of course. You guys are a massive support to us. So big props to you guys for sure. There's a lot of other stuff, you got Works Connection, we got DID Dirt Stars, we got Bell Helmets, Liette, we can keep going. Avoid that, Scott. This is an old shirt. We're getting different shirts. Don't worry about that. But mostly, at the end of the day, if it wasn't for our mom and dad, it sounds funny saying this at 30, but it's still true. We wouldn't be here without them at all.
No.
I would, I personally don't have financial means to do what my dad does. I don't even know how he does it. If I had $10 for every time my mom said she was divorcing my dad for buying dirt bike stuff, I could probably do it on my own. But big thanks to Dirty Dan, Dan Horenchek out of Pennsylvania. He does all our custom builds on our frames. He's getting up there in the age. He battled COVID this year, so we're keeping prayers out for him. He's still he's not in the clear on that. The year he built my nitro bike, he was battling cancer. He's super tough guy. Oh my God, he's one of the toughest guys you'll ever meet. But just everybody in our corner, man. We try to represent them the best we can.
Right on. Very cool. And then one last thing before we get rolling, Jack, anything you want to add to that?
No, man, that's pretty much it. We'd just like to thank all of our sponsors, everything that they do for us. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing what we do, and love the sport and love to give back and just love it.
Very, very cool. Well, hey guys, I want to thank you guys for popping on today with us. We truly appreciate it. And how can guys find you if they're trying to find you guys on how can they find you guys?
On Facebook, you can look us up, Mason Racing. On Instagram, it's 346 Mason Racing 357. That's if you want to find us as a team. individually, it's just Jack,
Search our
Cody,
name,
and
Jack
Nick.
Mason. So, yeah.
All right.
We should probably get some pro athlete pages out there, but we still post all that stuff on there. We got our personal lives as well, you know.
Right. Absolutely. Hey guys, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. We are stoked to have you on board with us. We love supporting your team and want you guys to just keep pounding it out. You know, make that 3-second up the hill deal, and you guys keep doing what you guys do. So hey, thanks again, guys. We really liked having you on the show today. Okay, so now we're going to talk Arlington 2. Arlington Supercross happened tonight, and let me tell you, it was a barn burner. And you know, I do the fantasy leagues, and I'm with the Moto X Dream 360 fantasy leagues, and let me tell you, I thought I was going to kill it tonight, just absolutely kill it, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. So I expected big points tonight, and it just kind of fizzled. I was going in pretty good, and then I had Savatgy and Wilson, Brayton and Davalos, and I really expected Brayton to bounce back in this round, and unfortunately Brayton crashed, hurt his wrist, didn't even make the show, didn't even make the main event. So I lost him in the 450 class. On the 250 class, I was watching Carson Mumford in time practice today, and the kid was on fire. He looked amazing, and I said, okay, I know his results have been really bad this year, but this was going to be his night. He looked like he was on it. Just didn't happen. He good heat race, put it in the main event, and then got 19th place. Right, doesn't do much. That's 4 points for me. If you are playing on the Moto X the fantasy league that I'm on, then you have the option to pick riders that are red. They're called hot riders. And if they get inside the top 10, you get an extra 10 points on that rider. And so I picked my entire team this weekend was red. I had, except for Jordan Smith, I take that. So 3 of the 4 were there. I had Mumford, Harrison, and Shock. And I'll tell you, Harrison was leading. I was like, yes, finally got myself a good night in points. And I did. I mean, Harrison still finished out the night in 6th. I got great points from Harrison. But Cody, Shock, I thought was going to get inside the top 10. Didn't do it. Jordan Smith got inside the top 10, which was great. But he was not a hot rider, so I got just 15 points for him. And then, of course, Carson Mumford with his 4th place, which, hey, being in a main event's great. Don't get me wrong. But I really needed more out of Mumford for this round. My picks in the 450 class, as I said, I had Savatgy, Wilson, Brayton, and Davalos. And if you looked at the results at the end of the night, it went Davalos, Wilson, Savatgy. And Savatgy, if he would have just got inside the top 10, would have gave me an extra 10 points. Dang it. You know what I mean? So, and then, of course, nothing from Brayton. So, but it still did relatively well. Savatgy's 11th got me 12 points. Dean Wilson's 10th got me 23 points. And then Davalos' 9th got me 24 points. So, really had a pretty good night, 59 points for that night. But I really need to be, I need to be better than that. So that was the fun. If you haven't had a chance, I encourage you, join the league. You can join for cheap right now. It is a lot of fun, and it really gets you to look down the field, and you're watching the race a lot differently. Instead of just watching it from the 1st and 2nd place guys, you start watching it from all of the different guys that you're watching, and you really get to learn about the different riders, especially guys that are in 5th, 6th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever those places are. It really gives you an opportunity to learn about those guys. And so it's pretty cool. I'm using my hands a lot today, aren't I? I don't know what the deal is with that. Let's look at some points here from this one. Overall, if you got a chance to watch the race, it was kind of a freight train. Not a ton of passing and stuff. We're going to talk 450 first, and we'll talk 250 second. But it was really interesting to watch. Coop and Eli were just locked together until like 2 minutes from the end of the race. And Tomac made a mistake, and it really cost him, right? He ended up dropping back. I think he lost by like 5 seconds. But the real problem is Coop had a big get off today in practice. Smashed his face into the ground, hard hit, gets himself up, and still comes out, puts himself into a winning position, and just absolutely crushed it. I mean, he had so much pressure from from Tomac and Webb never broke, never made a mistake. That kid is solid as a rock. Roxon had a really quiet third place ride though, but good ride for Roxon. He just was off the pace, just a tip. But I will say that I'm a Kenny fan. I want Kenny to do well. And you got to stop talking about the lappers when you're by yourself, right? You weren't catching up. Tomac and Webb were gone. You were kind of in third by yourself. Just talk, hey, gotta go faster. That's it. That's it. All I gotta say about Kenny. I don't want to start a war, but it is kind of interesting watching Kenny. I know he's disappointed, but man, come on, gut it out, dude. Gut it out. I will say though, this reminds me a lot of the 2019 season when Coop won the championship. Roxon started out on fire. It kind of looked like it was going to be Roxon's championship, and he just kind of faded out as the year went on. Kind of had that feeling again. Barsha with a really good, solid fourth place finish. He had some. He charges in there. I love his consistency this year. In the past, when he was with Yamaha, he'd have up and down, real fast, way off, real fast, way off. And this year, he's really consistent, which is cool. Good ride for Chase Sexton again. Anderson, man, went down in the first corner. It's a hell of a ride, right? Anderson went down in the first corner, moved all the way up into 6th place. Awesome ride. Absolutely awesome ride. Plessinger would battle it out. Good solid finish in 7th. Dylan Fernandez went down again in practice and still put it inside the top 10 with an 8th place. Really good ride for Dylan. You can kind of say what you want about the guy, but he's riding really well. If you just got to stay off the ground, just if you can just get some consistency. You're obviously not going to worry much about Dylan this year, but guys, years to come, you watch. He's going to be a championship contender. I don't see that not happening with his riding as long as he doesn't get hurt really bad. He is going to be that next level guy. You watch. Martin Davalos in 9th, Dean Wilson 10th, Savacci in 11th, and that's that. What a good night of racing, though. I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun to watch. Really enjoyed it. Supercross this year has not been a disappointment, not even a little bit. So very cool to watch. So what do we got next? You know what we got next? Goggle of the week. This week's Goggle of the week, right here, we got our red, white, and blue. Right here, look at that. Look at that bad boy. Oh, look at that. Look at that bad boy. That is your Goggle of the week. It's our factory series, red, white, and blue. You can see this in Motocross Action magazine this month. If you get the Motocross Action magazine, you can see this goggle. Mosman's wearing it on the YZ build that they did. You can pick this goggle up at a local dealer, wherever you shop. Ask your dealer to stock Viral Brand, or you can go to our dealer locator on our website, or you can do shop.theviralbrand.com. We have had inventory issues as of late just because we've been selling so much stuff, but we just got a huge inventory in today. We've got all of our straps, all of our colors, and we will have everything updated. By the time you watch this video, our website will be completely updated, and you can go get anything that you need from Viral Brand right now. We have everything in stock. This week's coming up next, almost forgot, coming up next, we got our quick hit, and our quick hit is with Colton Hermans. And we ran into him this weekend at the track, and we wanted to talk a little bit to him about how things have been going. When did you start riding?
I started riding when I was 5.
What class are you currently riding right now?
I'm currently riding the 250 junior class.
You had a big injury last year, so tell us a little bit about what happened and how was the recovery?
Yeah, I was racing out Horn Rapids, and I went over the jump before roadside, and I crashed and went over the bars and ended up breaking my femur. It was a very long recovery, and it was a big bump in the road, but back riding now, and having fun.
Perfect. And who's your favorite pro rider?
My favorite pro rider is Christian Craig.
Why is that?
I love his family and I watch all of his YouTube, and
His first race was pretty awesome, huh?
yeah, it was for sure.
So who's your favorite local pro rider?
I'd say my favorite local pro rider is Ryan Abrigo. He was my trainer growing up, and when I first started riding, and I just always liked him.
So Colton, how long have you been wearing Viral brand goggles?
I've been wearing Viral goggles since they first started producing them.
Perfect. What's your favorite thing about the goggle?
My favorite thing is the style and the look. I love the look and the colors that they do, and I feel it's a perfect fit on the face, and it fits good in the helmet, and everything about it's awesome.
And what are your plans for 2021?
The plans for 2021 is to come top 3 in the PRO series, and Loretta's and Mammoth, and keep trying for all the big races.
Awesome. And any sponsors you want to give some shout outs to?
CBC Racing, Viral brand, of course, Twin Air, Mom and Dad.
And how can people find you if they want to follow you on Instagram or Facebook and all that stuff?
My Instagram is Colton Hermans _525, and my Facebook is just Colton Hermans.
Hey Colton, thank you for doing that for us. We appreciate it. And don't forget about all of his sponsors. We put them on the sheet or put them on the screen here. Make sure that if you see him or you know him, tell him that you saw him on the Viral Nation. This week's Dealer of the Week, Got Gear Motorsports in Mississippi. I think they're our second Mississippi deal that we've had. We kind of pull them randomly. So go head over to their website. They have a full stock of Viral brand goggles. They can pick up anything that we got. They can get it for you. Head over to Got Gear Motorsports for the latest in Viral brand eyewear. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in again to this weekend's show, or this week's show. Obviously, it's a twofer, right? We got 2 Supercrosses under our belt. Now, the next show, we're going to hit Arlington 3. We'll talk about Arlington. There we go. Arlington 3. And we just really appreciate you guys coming, following us and listening to us and talking to us. If you guys have questions or you guys want to know something or you want to learn about something, put it right down here in the notes, in the comments here on this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's see, right about here. I always do this. It's right about here. Okay, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. You can also find us on almost any of the podcasting stations. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Tunes. We are on Pandora. We are on I can't think. Amazon. We are on Alexa. You can hear us on Alexa. You can hear us almost anywhere that you can find your podcast. So if you don't want to watch my ugly mug, you can listen to me and listen to the podcast instead of having to watch it, which is great. Just as good, I hope. Again, thanks again. Guys, don't forget, next week we are going to have a new guest. We don't know who that guest is going to be, but we're going to have a new guest. We are going to talk about Supercross or Washington Supercross history. Some more of that. We're going to talk a little more about some of the riders in that have helped shape Supercross from Washington State's standpoint. If you have a state that you want me to research, put it down in the notes, and we will start going state by state across the country looking for people from those states that have been influential into the motocross or into the Supercross world. We're going to talk, since we're in Supercross season, we're going to talk Supercross. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and want to thank Always Naked. If you guys have not got a chance, you guys can stop and pick up their CD. This is the Sex Sells CD, and you can pick it up at Bandcamp. Link is in our bio. They do our intro and outro music, and in all fairness, they are a heck of a band. Their music kicks ass, and you will not regret 1 minute of buying their album. Whether you buy the CD, you want to have an old school style and play it in your car, or you buy the download and you can play it on your phone. Either way, it helps them out a ton since they cannot tour as of right now. Don't forget that we want to thank all of our fans that have been watching. We want to thank all of the riders that wear Viral brand goggles. We got some big announcements coming up in the next few months. And we are just excited. We will see you guys here, same bat time, same bat station next week for episode number 12 of the Viral Nation.
Waking up